grab your deadite and go to a cabin somewhere because we're talking Evil Dead franchise here on Scarpad's domain, talking Evil Dead 1, Evil Dead 2, and Evil Dead 3, Army of Darkness, and a little bit about 2013 even. And let's bring in some people to talk to with. Of course, we're talking Dylan from Dylan's Horror Show. How you doing, Dylan?
Station, brother. How you doing?
Dylan's talking like a gangster, but it's okay. Thank you for coming here. I know you're not feeling too good. So I appreciate you coming in here and talking a little Evil Dead there.
Well, you know, Army of Darkness is one of my all-time favorites, man.
And I hope you're feeling better there. And of course, Verno, who I streamed with earlier today. I hope you guys caught that. It was a great show talking about 70s horror movies, top 5, good stuff.
Little 70s Bush action, of course.
70s Bush, and there's not much Bush in these movies, but there is a lot of woods. Like I did that, Bush Woods, that type of thing. So, you know, this movie was always a favorite of mine, and a little history here. Back in 1978, Sam Raimi created a film called Within the Woods that he used to show off to people to get them interested in making a full-length movie, which they did, and that became Evil Dead #1. And then basically that earned $2.7 million in the U.S. and $29.4 million around the world. It only cost $375,000 to make. And that got turned into Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. Now, for this movie, he went to Dino De Laurentiis, who said, you know, I want to back you, but Sam Raimi wanted to make Army of Darkness at that point. And Dino De Laurentiis wanted something that was more like the first movie. So what do we get? We got basically the first movie. We got a requel, not a sequel, not a remake, but a requel. Basically the same movie kind of redone, ignoring kind of the first one existed. And then that leads into Army of Darkness, which came out in 1992. The budget, quite a bit more, $11 million. That was a Universal movie. It only earned 21.5 though, you know, for that year. So actually, you know, the Dead by Dawn and Evil Dead was still the most popular one worldwide. And that movie came out and did pretty well. And that had a lot of different endings. If you got the DVD and Blu-ray, you'll notice that originally the ending was and it's on the Blu-ray, I think, he drinks the potion. Instead of waking up in the store, he wakes up in an apocalyptic world in the future. But Universal thought this was a downer and didn't want that ending. So that's why we got what we got. And I'm kind of glad that happened. So let's start. And then we got Evil Dead 2013. It came out in 2013. That did really well. It was made for $17 million. It made $95 million. It was kind of a remake of the first movie, sort of, kind of. We'll talk about that later on. But we want to probably start off by talking about Evil Dead 1. The only movie I saw of any of these in the theater was Army of Darkness. I don't know about you guys. Did you see any of these in the theater when they first came out? Including 2013?
That was the only one.
That's the only one you saw? Okay. So, yeah, Evil Dead 1.
I saw Army of Darkness on VHS with my jiddu when I was a young buck.
Yeah, Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2 are big staples on VHS. But it's kind of interesting because Evil Dead 1, I still think, to me, is the most horror movie version of the Evil Dead. You know, they started working in the humor, which I think really works in Evil Dead 2. There's a lot of it. But I think it does work. And then, of course, they went to the action-adventure route, you know, kind of almost like a Xena, Hercules type of thing in number 3. But the first one is really the one that's the most horror of all of them. You know, we got all those set scenes. And what I was talking to Dylan about earlier, too, is all 3 of these movies, and they shared that with, we're not going to talk too much about the new movie, but at all. But the thing that was nice I liked about the first 3 movies as opposed to the remake is they get right into it. Like 10 minutes into the movie, we're already, you know, being chased in the woods. Deadites are coming after us with all those shit's going on.
I think like 5 minutes in the second one.
Yeah, and then of course, right, the bookend right in the Army of Darkness starts right at the end of the other one. And 13 took like an hour to really even get into a lot of Deadite stuff. But the first one, we get some great scenes in that, some great pieces in that. One of the things that is in that movie that Sam Raimi I read some things about he kind of regretted doing this was that tree scene, the tree rape scene, which amazingly enough they used again in 13. I didn't think they would, and it's actually worse in 13.
And he's backstage.
Oh, all right. Thank you for telling me. Hey, Stephanie, Steph.
I've been sitting back there for an hour.
Thanks,
Oh,
Dylan.
God.
I'm glad Dylan checks the chat. It's not even on his channel.
Down there.
I was back there for a while too, bro.
I was gonna say I knew eventually Dylan or Werner would notice it, but I was just waiting for it. I was gonna see.
I was just looking to see if I could see it because I was like,
well, they have a new thing in this new version of StreamYard. It's called a penalty box. And hold on.
Oh, that was like a penalty box.
A penalty box.
This shit.
So, to me, I think if we're gonna rate these later on, Evil Dead 1 has always been my favorite of the first four, because I think it is the most horror of the first four.
Always been my favorite.
I almost feel like this is like a X-Men, Spider-Man 2 situation where it's like if you love the first one, I understand why you love the first one, but the second one took everything you liked about it and kind of refined it in my eyes. There's a few things I would have added from the first one to the second one, but I feel like overall better product is the second one. If like we're talking about iconic Ash, like we started to see a bit of like Sam Raimi's, I'm going off on a tangent, but we started to see a bit of Sam Raimi's bits as a director, like the zoom ins and shit, that stuff Edgar Wright loves to do. Bruce Campbell stepped up a lot as an actor in the second one, as opposed to the first one.
Well, I thought he was really manic. He really had some good parts. And the first one, I still think he's really
he was good, but you can tell that as good as the first one was, you could tell it was like they refined themselves over the
And all that extra cash helped too. I mean, there was a lot more budget in there.
Well,
very true.
He was like, now that it was a success, he was like, I'm down to do whatever to make this thing keep going, because that's what started their entire careers for both of them.
Well, the way I understand it is like they made Evil Dead 1 not because they're big horror fans, but because of the budget, it was easy to do. And then after that, he made a couple attempts at other types of movies, failed at them, and then his fallback was Evil Dead 2.
That's why horror, bro, is like what it is. That's why back in the 80s, we're making like there's a movie called The Ripper with Tom Savini, and it's literally like it looks like it's shot on like a shitty ass like people were like on the 80s documentary, they were like, I went to go rent this Tom Savini movie thinking it was, I'm paying full price like it's a big budget movie, and I get like a shot on camera, thing like where
home video.
Yeah, literally a home video. Thank you, Steph. Like,
well, the first movie when he made that film Within the Woods, that starred Bruce Campbell and the girl that was playing his love interest in the movie. So he did use that.
Changed every movie.
He expanded it. He used it, and then he just filmed extra stuff to insert into it, and that became Evil Dead. So he didn't not use that footage.
Oh, okay.
A lot of it wound up in the movie.
Sam Raimi made just like iconic is obviously the shaky cam there. That's just
very kinetic movement. Yeah.
Where like literally they were running with the camera, and it's like there's nothing you could do. It's just it was the shaky cam where you're just running through the woods, acting like you're chasing someone.
Right.
It's like Return of the Jedi with no budget, going through the woods. You know what I mean? That's kind of what it is.
And I think he took everything he learned in the first two Evil Dead movies, and he really cranked up to 10 in Darkman, because Darkman has those visual shots and all the juxtaposition of different elements. So I mean,
I feel like that started in
Spider-Man.
What came out first? I felt like I was just going to bring this up, but I felt like I knew Darkman was going to be brought up as an example. That's fair to say, but I feel like the elements of the Raimi and the Spider-Man film we got are very prevalent throughout the Army of Darkness. Like, when he's walking through the cemetery and he gets his ass beat by the skeletons, like all those fists punch him in the face. Straight up like a shot of like when Norman Osborn's going kind of like crazy and talking to himself in the first Spider-Man movie. Like a lot of that humor is present in Army of Darkness. But yes, Darkman is probably Well, I think both these movies, because you got like the obnoxious, wisecracking quip hero in Ash. And that's essentially what Spider-Man is, So
Right.
I feel like they saw this and took a lot of inspiration for that when choosing him as director.
I think that some people don't like the humor that eventually came into Evil Dead 2 and then Army of Darkness, but I think it's a natural progression because he saw what Bruce Campbell could bring to the table, and he wasn't just going to have him play straight man through the whole thing.
Right.
And there's still lines. I know Verno hasn't watched too many times, but there's still lines where I was watching Army of Darkness this week that just make me crack up. I mean, all that stuff in the pit, and
I wonder if it was like
the way he's delivery is.
Do you think it was intentional, like just because budgetary reasons, like that was always his style, but he kind of had to pull back to make it more of a horror flick, or is that something he developed afterwards? Because you could see the humor in the first one, like subtly.
Yeah.
I
feel like
sure
he's leaning more into himself, and he's
okay.
doing more what he wants to do. That's my guess, because he never went back. Not that he never went back to horror. It wasn't his go-to. You know what I mean?
Right.
He didn't like stay in that genre. He kept trying to leave it and then coming back for his most successful stuff. I feel like he leaned that way. The other thing I was going to say that you made me think of, every fucking horror franchise, almost every one of them that I can think of, maybe other than Hellraiser, starts out not funny or a little bit funny and then gets funnier and funnier. It's like, what is that? I wonder why.
Well, because I think it's just, you can't stay dark horror. I think they figured the audience needs kind of a relief. But I mean, in Army of Darkness, we got, it took a Three Stooges level with that skeletons like you saw in the beginning, hitting them all at the same time, and him mispronouncing the name. So it took it even a little more than what we saw in 2.
It amped it. They were teasing it into like it kind of started off like the first movie, but towards the end it kind of really was heavy on not really so much heavy, but you could see like the last act of the movie, you could see a lot of the humor elements that became like staples in Army of Darkness throughout the film, actually. But
totally,
yeah. I mean, Raimi had a plan. I mean, if you go back to Army of Darkness 1 and where Ash is going through the book, in the book is really Ash in the Knight's Age. That was always planned from the beginning. That's where he was going to go with it. How he got there maybe was a little bit different, but it was always going to go there.
So the second one,
the third one, I was always going to go. I mean, the first one has him in the book with the sword up in the air, and it was clearly Ash. You go back and look at that.
Yeah, I got it. Okay, yeah.
Because
we didn't get any like Deadite shit until the second one though. Like the first one's kind of ambiguous, where it's just kind of like some horror shit. Like we don't get any of the mythology.
Yeah. I think you got a little bit more of it in the second one. Definitely, the mythology is more in the second, pretty prevalent. And also I think the second one too. There's a huge, almost the first half of that movie is a little different. Is Ash by himself until the rest of the cast shows up. Whereas in the first one, the cast is kind of there from the beginning, sort of. Because they all go up with him. Right.
More like a traditional horror movie. Right. Yeah, happy campers going out and shit happens, where he tweaks it.
So Dylan, what style do you prefer? I mean, I know you like all of them, but as far as the three movies go, what gets your
the Army of Darkness one, man? That's always been my favorite. I just love, and I feel like you can do so much with the series that they haven't really tapped with that going back in time. I just always loved that one, man. It was like a perfect primer for me as a kid, and I still, to this day, man, it's always been my favorite.
I think the most rewatchable. Oh, my bad.
It's definitely no. You're good, bro. It's definitely the most rewatchable, without a doubt. I absolutely loved it, man. It was just always such a fun one, and I just loved the vibe of it. The Deadites in that, the skeleton Deadites. Obviously, 1 and 2 are incredible themselves, but that one is just always, it's so unique, and nothing else has ever done that, where it takes a franchise set in regular day and goes back in time. I absolutely loved it, man. And it's just so iconic to me.
Was it the first one you knew? I know I've heard a lot of people say that they watched that first and they didn't even know Evil Dead was.
That was the first one, and
right.
I had no idea.
It's almost standalone. You could see that and not really,
And they tell the story at the beginning. They knew that when they were making it.
Years down the road, I'd forgot. Like maybe I watched it growing up, and then I kind of forgot about it for a few years, and I was like, "What was that movie?" Searched my Jiddu's VHS tapes, and he was like, "This is the one." I was like, "Really?" And I watched it, and I found out that it was a part of the Evil Dead. And then I think by the time I watched it, I was like, "Oh shit, bro, this is Ash." Like at that time that I revisited it, I had already seen Evil Dead 1 and 2, so I was like, "Oh my god, this was the first one I saw." So I love it, man. I think
Army of Darkness has the most iconic interpretation of Ash too. Like, because when I think of Ash, like Army of Darkness,
all
Ash
the best
is the one that pops in my head.
All the best lines came from Army of Darkness.
Yep.
I mean,
some Sugar Baby, that ugly
that you can throw in anywhere, and he's gonna make it. He's gonna survive, even if you throw him back in time. He's got it.
The moment he gets
you can't bring him down.
He's on the chair getting
he's like,
the
give me
grapes peeled, getting the grapes peeled, and they're fanning them. And he comes up, he goes, "Well, you make where you live in a barn? Shut the door." And he goes, "Get out of here! Go make it like a leave and blow."
Oh, hail the king, baby!
Hail the king!
I like the line where he's like
the king of Jack and shit left the building.
I like the line where he gets the Deadites book and he brings it back to the castle. They're all cheering him on and shit. Like, yeah. He's like, "Get the fuck out of my face," or something like that.
Oh, you primitive screwheads!
One back. Okay, well, maybe I didn't say the words exactly how they were supposed
to.
Right. You damned us all. He's like, "Yeah, well, you ready to send me back?"
A deal's a deal, right?
I brought the book back.
This is why I feel like I need to watch it more, because of all these lines. You guys didn't pick up on every line the first time watching it. You know what I mean? You need to have repeat viewings to appreciate all that shit.
God. And I own like 9 copies of Army of Darkness. I own like 9 different discs.
Well, send one this way. I'll burn it out.
I own this 4K Steelbook. I own the 4K with the slip. I own the Blu-ray with the slip, and each one has 3 different versions in it.
Jeez.
Directors, theatrical,
TV,
international, European international, and I own that 3 times each, so 9 fucking copies.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed that I could see where he was going with that Universal didn't want the original ending.
Ash versus Evil Dead is good too.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Is that like a sequel to? Does it pick a reference Army of Darkness and all that?
We'll talk about that in a second. But look, where we're going at the end, the apocalyptic.
Talk about it as much.
Well, what happened is they didn't talk about it all in the first season because it was owned by a different company and they didn't have the rights to it. They got the rights to it in the second season, and they do reference it in the second season.
Okay.
Not until the second season. But I think if they had gone ahead to the apocalyptic time and he had gotten to do his Deadite thing in like a world with like advanced, who knows who was going to be that could have been a great flick, but they didn't like that. It was a downer ending, and that's why we get in the back of the store at the end of Army of Darkness. And you can tell that's a reshoot because if you look at that end of Army of Darkness, he's a lot older looking there than he was when he was making the movie. So they reshot that ending because they didn't like the original ending.
Talking about the ending they used for the final cut.
That's right. Yeah.
He does look. I thought maybe it was just because he slicked back his hair, but he did look a little older.
Yeah, the ending, the original apocalyptic ending is on one of the 9 copies that Dylan owns. They do have it. They do show it. Because I think that
it's funny you say that they almost went with like a futuristic after credit, or like not after credit, him arriving in the future. Because I was thinking after rewatching Army of Darkness today, like that'd be kind of a cool movie. Like he was in the past, like take him to the future. They have Raimi and Bruce Campbell come back for something like that, where he's like in the future where the Deadites have fucking, shortly after the humanity's on like the brink of collapse or whatever because the Deadites attack.
Oh, he's got the VHS too.
Oh wow!
OG copy that I watched with my Jiddu growing up.
I wish I had that.
That's a crazy look.
This was the exact one I watched as a kid. The same exact tape.
That looks terrifying.
Yeah.
Let's get a 360. Yeah. That's clean.
Mm-hmm.
It's clean, dude. All my VHSs are actually really nice condition. They're almost like
I just got a new player, Dylan. You should send that to me.
That's awesome,
This
dude.
is,
That's really
yeah.
fucking cool. Is that worth something?
Original
Probably, right?
ending on it.
Yeah, it's got.
It's worth $3.75.
Digitally remastered.
Oh,
Cutting
okay.
edge.
You got
Oh, no, was it full screen? Everything was
digitally
full screen back
mastered
then.
for super.
Yeah, I don't think they had widescreen VHS
quality.
Yeah, not too many back then. No.
Yeah,
but
loved it.
That's old school.
Like
that's definitely old
yeah.
school. Do you have the other ones in VHS too, or just that one?
This is the only one. I wish I had them. I own Evil Dead on like twice. Evil Dead 2, I need to get the Steelbook for because I own them all on Steelbook except Evil Dead 2.
Is it out of print?
I don't know. I think it is a Best Buy exclusive. I think it is a little harder. Like I literally got the Evil Dead.
You know, when I go back,
Steelbook for like $3.
When I go back and look at Evil Dead 1, the effects, it's mind-boggling that movie was made for $375,000. The effects in Evil Dead 1 are just so good. And,
I think they're like the highlight.
It said basically in one of the books I read here that everything he got for that movie was bought off the shelf from a Halloween store. It's all of it with makeup and stuff like that.
It's passion, man. Passion and people working for cheap and just trying to make something badass. And probably working longer than they would if they were getting paid, you know, and it wasn't a passion thing. You can tell all the detail in that. It's great. It's just his friends, right? That even did the
pretty much
the makeup and stuff.
They're all from Michigan. They went to school from my dad's side of the family in Kalamazoo, so like that area I'm familiar with. Where I thought they shot the movie in Michigan. I was kind of geeked about that, but no, they were in Tennessee. Yeah, but yeah, it was cool. They're from Michigan.
And then the second one, Greg Nicotero and his company did the effects on that one, and that had to be one of Greg Nicotero's, I would imagine, pretty early films. Although he started back in the '70s, I think. And the effects in that are just and that scene they did in the windmill with the little versions of him. I mean, that was such early computer generated, and you can clearly see it has some issues, but it's still done pretty well considering, you know, when that movie was made. You know,
yeah, it looked better than him falling. Shit. I mean, it happened at two when he's like going through the portal though, and he's just falling. It looks so cheesy, but you know, you think something as simple as that would. Yeah. Well, yeah, but you know, I mean,
because remember,
when did the second one come out?
88.
Second one came out in 88, I think it was. Yeah.
What was it? Sorry.
87.
Okay.
It's okay.
Well, in Army of Darkness, it wasn't Ash versus the Evil Dead. It was Bruce Campbell, and then it disappears versus the Evil Dead. So I mean, it was obviously you know, they were going tongue in cheek here by that point. You know, but then I could have swore too. I don't know. I have to look this up. But I thought when Army of Darkness came out, it was rated PG-13. It was not an R, and it got dogged on. Now they've re-rated it R.
Right.
But really, it could be almost rated PG-13 because that movie's
they only said
less of all of them, I think.
Yeah, the gore isn't as intense as the other two, and you know they only had the one F-bomb that when he pushed the guy out his way. So I don't see how.
Well, that's right. Yeah.
But you're allowed one F-bomb in a PG-13 movie nowadays, so I'm sure it was way more lenient back then.
Well, yeah, back then you could.
It's so weird. We'll give you one.
Right. You could do anything in a PG back then. So I guess let's go to so your favorite of the movies, and you know, what is your favorite film out of the franchise? Little Link.
Ooh.
How you doing?
Mute your mic, Dylan.
You might want to mute. Definitely mute your mic.
Macaluso.
Mute your mic, Dylan.
Birthday is
my favorite of the
Social Security number.
My favorite. Wait, would you say my favorite movie of the franchise? I felt like you said favorite. You asked what my favorite movie was, just in two different ways.
Favorite movie of the franchise of the three, because we haven't
talking
about it. The first three.
It's hard. This one is really hard because I like them all for different reasons.
Right.
I appreciate and admire what the first one was able to accomplish on such a shoestring budget, and like Bruno said, you can feel the passion throughout. Even though the second one's more refined, you could still see like this is something he wanted to do in the first one, like budget constraints or not. So I respect that about it, but I feel like as the structure of an overall movie, it's the weakest of the three, to be honest. I mean, it is the more indie one. He had more studio money. I look at the first one as like the indie version, and the second one is the studio version of like the same movie.
The requel, yeah.
Yeah, I like the second one because, like I said, it took everything you liked about the first one and upped it up and upped the ante on it. The Bruce Campbell shined a lot more, even though he was still great in the first one. He was feeling himself more in this role. You could tell. Raimi's quips, I don't know. I think he might have had hints of it in the first one, but specifically the shit that Edgar Wright loves to do, like the zoom up of. It might have even been in the third one where he actually did that, but I feel like I saw it in the second scene.
Oh, it's in the first.
You're talking about where they zoom through the woods?
Yeah, I mean the second one, it's all fucking camera crazy. It's the whole movie's one big fucking set piece almost. It's with little valleys in between the peaks.
Yeah. Second one, I like the zaniness they started to dive into towards the end of it. I specifically like some of the camera angles they were doing, or like when they did Spirit, whatever, the diet Spirit is like chasing him through the house and he's like running down through the hallways and different stuff. And I like the third one because, like Dylan said, it's unique. It stands on its own. I like that they just kind of went left field with everything. So I don't know. It's hard to decide. I'm going to go with the second one. If I had to choose like the most faithful to like the vision I feel of what people expect out of Evil Dead is in the second one. But it's hard. It battles between the third and the second for me. But I'll go with the second one as my favorite.
Cool. And before we get to Verno, let's say hello in the chat. Hey, thank you, Evan. Superior Hero Collectibles coming in. Fable, how you doing out there tonight? Thank you for coming on, my brother. I know you got work, so I'm glad you stopped by. Two Gun Pedro is always in the chat. That one, Eric, is here. Thanks, guys, for coming in on Sunday night and letting us talk to you a little bit. So, Verno, you said you're battling that Army of Darkness. Yeah, but what? Well, out of the first three, what's your favorite?
I assume I have a completely different history with the franchise than all of you guys. Link, did you grow up with the movies?
I didn't grow up watching regularly, but I had seen them. Right. I see. That's why I'm saying like the most iconic version to me of Ash is Army of Darkness, because I had always seen that version of Ash where he's the movie poster where he's standing there with the chick on his arm and shit. But I'd seen, because I'd always heard of Army of Darkness, when like Wizard Magazine would always have like pictures of that movie or like a statue of it. So I'd always been interested. So by the time I like initiated trying to track down these movies and watching them, I had seen the first and the second one first. And I was younger, so I didn't really get the big deal about him at the time. When I enjoyed Army of Darkness more growing up, I would say.
Right. I'm pretty sure, damn near never. I think I'd seen the movies, but I didn't fucking know the movies at all. It was one of those, for whatever reason, like I remember seeing the covers and being like, "Oh, that's too much." Like when I was really little, for whatever reason, we never picked them up. We never watched the movies. And I had literally just watched, I think, all of them for the first time a couple years ago. So these are all like brand fucking new to me. There's no nostalgia. And then when I got to Army of Darkness, I was that one kind of like, oh, this fucking movie? I kind of remember this movie. You know what I mean? I didn't even know it was part of it. It was just its own thing, because I feel like it's the one that was on TV the most. Like probably even during the day, because it's not, it's not what Evil Dead is, either one of them. But so my experience now going through them, if as of yesterday I would have said the first one was my favorite, I've rewatched 2 today, and it's like, I don't know, man. Like that might be my favorite, but it's just like you guys are saying. The first one's the scariest. I like the rawness of it. I like the pure horrorness of it. It's fucking crazy. It's got a great vibe. But the second one is Scarpet. We were talking earlier about these movies that feel like concept albums that are just like there's no peak. There's no like if I would have said that better, each song on a good concept album is iconic, or like on a great album. And these movies, like Evil Dead 2, every scene is iconic. It just never lets up from start to finish. And the craziness starts, like you said, Scarphead, like right when the movie opens up. And even watching it today, I was like, damn, how are they going to sustain this? You know what I mean?
Right.
And they totally do. It's just out of control. And it's so much Bruce Campbell, like just by himself doing the whole thing until the rest of the people show up. So
and the cast is better in the second one than it was in the first.
The acting is better. You said like Bruce Campbell's, he's way more confident. He knows what they're gonna do with that role, and they take it further. It's almost like a surprise in the first one. Either like they didn't know and decided halfway, like shit, maybe you should be the star of this by the end of it.
Yeah,
you don't know that he's gonna be the guy, and they clearly knew it going into this one. Army of Darkness, like I said, I put it on. I don't even know if I finished it. Like you guys are bringing stuff up, and I barely fucking remember it. It was a handful of months ago that I watched that one, and I couldn't get into it, but I definitely will, and I'm sure I will enjoy it. But
well, his girlfriend in number 2 is Bridget Fonda. So
was her in this? I thought they recast her in the third one, and it was Bridget Fonda in the third one at the beginning.
I think it's Bridget Fonda, and you're right. It's the third one. She's Bridget Fonda's in. Okay,
because they used a different chick for his girlfriend in every evil. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, my headcanon says the Deadites made him forget his whole experience and made him go get women and bring it back to the thing. And he had no memory of any of it. And that really is why it took place. Yeah, I mean, I think the third one is so rewatchable and so entertaining. It's a fun movie more than all the other ones. I just like the first one because it's got the creep factor that I think even the second one doesn't have.
I get them mixed up too. It's hard to keep because they're so similar.
Creepy when the girl's mother is in and they do a lot of this in the other films and some of the newer ones, where the girl's mother is in the hole, and then turns back.
I forgot to hit fucking mute.
I muted it.
No, you kicked me, motherfucker. I said
right around the time
you guys are probably like
right around the time you were giving out your social security number. That's all right. I'm signing you up for some. You're going to have a Russian bride come to your house in about a week and a half. So I think the creep factor is the most prevalent in the first one. It's very eerie, very creepy. Mm-hmm. And the second one has some of that too, but because they break it up with a lot of humor still, it's not as creepy because you're kind of disarmed against it a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Number 1 for me is still going to be my favorite movie. I love 2, though. I love them all. And 3, of course. Once you get to 3, you're just entertaining the hell out of it. It's just so good. Dylan, it's why you were giving away your stuff there. I hope that they give you some good stuff.
Thank God that he said he's like, for your birthday present, I'm gonna get you some antibiotics.
I'm calling CVS for you.
Shit.
Thank God my pharmacy's open 24/7. I'm gonna try to go get it tonight, man, because I need my throat. Like I just took some Dayquil and nothing. I'm sitting here like on fire. My whole body is on fire.
Well, anytime you get a blow out of there, just
we're almost
the house
done,
on fire.
So.
Yeah.
I knew they would answer right like in midstream. But
so out of the 3 movies, I guess which one is your favorite? And
oh man, out of the 3, dude, it's easily Army of Darkness. They're all very close though. It would probably go Army of Darkness, then Evil Dead 2, then Evil Dead. But Evil Dead 2 and 1 are almost tied. The only reason I go Evil Dead 2 more is because the advancement of Ash and just him coming into his own and really being like, I'm the bad motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like Evil Dead, he was still trying to find that. He's a little more goofy, little more just trying to find himself. You know what I mean? Almost like a high school kid not knowing where he fits in the world. Where in Evil Dead 2, he's like, I know who I am.
He's a man.
He's a realized man.
I'm a king. You know. I absolutely love this franchise, though, man. It's one. I mean, I got a gorgeous Evil Dead box. Like, I got the big box set, and I hate the way the discs come in it, and I knew they were coming like that, but I had to get.
You know what's crazy is like this might be one of the stronger franchises, like consistent in terms of consistency, and no one really talks about that. You know, like.
It's because there's not as many of them, probably as you know what I mean. There's a lot of the big ones, and it's different. It's like we said, there's 2 remakes.
It has a huge fan base.
Oh, did you buy that? I was wondering if
Dylan, that Evil Dead 2 Steelbook is like $50-$60, by the way. Just so.
And I need that's the one I
does
need
have every version
because I got the Evil Dead 1 Blu-ray for like $3 on Amazon. It was $3.99 for the Steelbook.
Wow,
it's it's an old Blu-ray, but I was like, I'll just throw my 4K because I got the 4K in here.
Yeah, that's
I don't really like how these.
Yeah, I hate page books because this.
That's why I was like, I want to get the Evil Dead Steelbook for $3, and I was gonna just place the 4K in there, but I gotta get the. Maybe one day they'll do another Evil Dead Steelbook because they're always putting new releases out for it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
But they only gave the show Blu-rays. They didn't upgrade them to 4K, sadly. Which that's my only disappointment about this.
So let's talk 2013. I saw 2013 last week for the first time.
Really?
I did not see it.
Same.
I got the 4K.
Alvarez, baby. Yeah, I got the 4K.
I got the 4K set, and it looks really good.
I wish it came with a Blu-ray.
Yeah, for some reason they don't do that now. Shout Factory. They want to say the Blu-ray.
Scream Factory.
Scream
they
Factory.
Should have. Yeah. Sony, but it's through Sony.
So my opinions of it is I thought it was okay. I did like it, but I have issues with it. It takes a long time to get going, 50 minutes really before anything happens.
30 minutes. 30
yeah, I was going to say, I feel like you're over-exaggerating. Thank you, Verno.
Maybe I'll give it 30.
Normal movie.
It starts off with a scene that really, I don't know, didn't really even need to be in there. The whole, prequel with the father and the daughter. I guess it could have been in there, but I don't know. To me,
what about that's spoilers, but there's a similar scene in Rises.
Well, let's not talk about Rises at all. But the thing is, and also the story itself, I just couldn't get into. I don't like. I understand why they do these things with all modern movies. Modern heroes have to have an addiction to drugs, and but they didn't play up on that enough. They didn't play up enough on is this her hallucinations or is it really happening? They did a little bit. And then we get the thing where you really think she's going to be the final girl, and then it ends up really being the guy, but then they kill him off. Spoilers, and then it is her at the end. But I don't like the whole storyline. I mean, it's kind of dumb. Why would you bring somebody who's an addiction into the woods? That's bad. Is bad off. Obviously, do try to take her out.
Why? What's wrong with the woods? You're trying to get her away from.
I mean, no, that's right. I said this in the back chat. It's an intervention, man. They're trying to. She's in an isolated area. She can't go anywhere to get drugs.
They've done it before. It hasn't worked. They said that in the beginning of the movie. You think
you give up on her, let her die. You're right.
No, you probably take her to like a clinic and have her do it, or a hospital.
But they said in the movie before that she had been to the clinic before. They weren't doing that shit again. Like they,
let me just say, like, here's why I kind of like that. If you don't do that, if you don't bring her out there for that reason, then what are you gonna do? You're gonna bring a bunch of happy campers out there. How many fucking times have we seen that? A bunch of people are happy and they go out somewhere and bad shit.
Let's go party. Like,
that's what I like. And dude, it's super relevant because that shit is it's real. It's a hell of a drug. You know what I mean? Like it's so fucking relevant, especially at that time.
Did anybody bring any Narcan with them? No. And then they leave a she's on drugs, she's coming off drugs, and they leave a shotgun out. And gee, you know what? She gets it and does bad things with it. Yeah, because you left it out in the fucking county, you morons. I mean, it was just a lot of dumb shit in it. And there was also some good stuff too. I like the girl with the knife, the paring knife, and the performances were real good. I liked the movie. I just thought it was to me, it's the weakest of the bunch, but it's okay. And that's why I said, without spoilers, that I thought the new movie is so far above 2013, it's not even the same galaxy.
Awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what did you think? 2013, I guess, Steph, you seen it when it come out?
I didn't. I saw this a few months ago. I had sent you guys. I was like, yeah, so I rewatched the remake. Thought it was all right. I put it in the back chat, but I don't know why. What made me watch the remake a few months ago? I think because you guys were talking about it, someone brought it up, and I was like, I always meant to, because I had started watching it years ago, but never. It was I got like 10 minutes into it, like the opening, and never made it past the opening. So I watched it, and I enjoyed it. Yeah, I will say it. Many aspects, it is the weakest of the franchise, but I feel like it was a strong entry at the time it was released. You know, because we hadn't had a Evil Dead movie since the 80s. I mean, yes, Army of Darkness, but the title alone, Evil Dead, hadn't been used since like the late 80s. So you know, it was for a new generation, and like Verno said, like we've seen Happy Campers done a bunch before, like, you know, Wrong Turn, fucking Cabin Fever, Cabin in the Woods, you know, it's
Friday the 13th.
Yes. So
Cabin in the Woods is stuff this week too for the first time. I enjoyed the hell out of that movie.
I love that. I saw that one in theaters.
Yeah, that was a great movie.
Hell yeah.
They need to do a sequel to that. But yeah, I didn't mind the whole drug thing. I thought it was a solid story. Focal point, like it because she's already mentally unstable, so it's like, of course, you know, if you're into that spiritual stuff, demonic forces would attack the weak-minded.
Exactly.
So it made sense.
And the demon even said it in the movie.
Right. The cast was solid. You know, I like the dude with the glasses, the geeky one who actually read the shit and made it all pop off.
Dude, he looks like the dude from X, the one that's Jenna Ortega.
Yes, with the camera dude. Yep. But I think it was a solid entry.
That dude was good, but my God, I mean, how long would you last with 5,000 nails in you?
My man was
that dude lasted a long time, man.
Yeah,
I think he'd lose a lot of blood. But
he'd do well in the Scream franchise.
He held up a long time with the nails, man. I tell you.
And then, that was a brutal scene. He's
was, dude. I think this is the most violent movie of the batch.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because Evil Dead 2 is extremely violent, but it's more playful with the violence. This shit's visceral. Just like, holy fuck. It's a shocking movie. It takes the craziness of Evil Dead 2 and puts it with the pure horror of Evil Dead 1.
Right.
Out of the four that we've talked about, this is the most horrific. Evil Dead 1 and this one. I mean, this is pure horror.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No, I agree with that. Yeah. Say what I was said better than I could say.
It's definitely a remake of the first movie.
Yeah.
All the way.
With touches from the second one with the they did what kind of the Friday the 13th remake did, where they just took elements of the first four movies there. They just took elements of part 2 and mixed it with this tonally, and then with a bunch of the bits too. A lot of that is from 2 with the chainsaw and all that.
Tonally it's 1, but the bits, it took a lot of bits from 2.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought it was fucking badass.
Yeah.
Like I really did. I was like audibly like commenting on how badass it was at certain points of the movie, you know. It was just like, damn, dude, like the type of violence that you almost have to laugh at, like John Wick violence. Like, holy shit, like over the top, badass. And the themes worked for me. She was great. I thought she was phenomenal. I wish we could have had more of her. It was kind of weird doing what they did, Scarpad, with having the brother and her kind of going back and forth, because he didn't match her as being an interesting character or as good of an actor or anywhere like that.
Yeah.
So you wanted her the whole time. So it was I don't know if it was kind of clunky the way they juggled the two characters.
Yeah. I don't know. The characters, I mean, they were good characters, but the only character I think in the movie I really had any empathy for at all was Grandpa. The only one. I felt bad for Grandpa.
The damn dog.
The poor guy got his head bashed in. It didn't deserve it.
Is Grandpa the dog?
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
Okay, yeah. I was like,
how about when the one demon comes out and just the way he's I think he's whacking the guy with, or she's whacking the guy with the glasses with like a crowbar or something. Just like fucking splits his hand in half, and so violent. Yeah.
This movie gets like the violent gore shit. Definitely. That's why I said in certain aspects, because in certain aspects this film's stronger than the other entries too.
Well, it's like Scarphead is like what, and I understand it. It's one of the things I like about the early ones that they jump right into it. But the thing that the more modern take is, well, let's set these characters up. Let's elevate this a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's harder to make. I don't think audiences, especially in 2013, want a movie that's not going to have the characters
something
from the get-go. Yeah. You got to have that shit.
Right. And the other thing is too, the unrated cut, which is the one I watched, is 6 minutes longer. So maybe that extra 6 minutes was a lot of padding. That maybe the theatrical flowed better. I don't know. I'll have to rewatch it because maybe it was better. Sometimes that happens.
If I watched the version through you, is that the unrated one?
No, you saw the theatrical. Yeah, they only had the unrated ones on the disc, I think. So Dylan, you 2013, and how did you see this a long time ago, or when did you first see it?
I saw it a long time ago. I enjoy it a lot. Actually, I think it's a good one. It's one of the better remakes for sure. I think it's fucking gory as hell, and Fede Alvarez really nailed the tone of the movie and did his own thing, but kind of kept it in the same realm with kind of making the new Ash version a chick that's kind of a heroin addict, trying to get off, her drugs, and just her ripping her fucking arm off and shit, man. Like there's some gnarly shit in that one, man.
That's this movie.
She couldn't. I guess she couldn't. Was it because she couldn't reach the chainsaw? Is that why she didn't use it? She couldn't reach it.
No, her shit got like stuck under a car.
Yeah.
No, I understand it, but the chainsaw was over here, but I don't think she could get to it, and that's why she ripped her arm off. You have to be pretty strong to rip your arm.
I
skin and bone out.
In the 4K when I first got it, but.
Has the director done anything since this movie? I mean, he probably has.
That too, dude.
Because if he got an alien project, bro, if he hasn't done much, this movie's got him the alien project. That says something. Like, Ridley Scott's got to sign off on that.
What did he do? He's doing an upcoming alien thing? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Oh, okay. He's doing. Yeah. Is that awesome. Dylan? Was it a movie or a show?
The movie. Alien Romulus. They announced it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, after 2013 came out, the plan was in the works to bring Ash back for a while. They originally intended to have Ash and Mia's story from 13 merged together.
I would have thought that's
but it never happened, and they turned it into Ash versus the Evil Dead in 2015. So, how many people here have seen Ash versus the Evil Dead?
I've seen like the first episode. I always meant to go back and.
Dylan, did you watch the whole series?
Yeah.
Oh, he did Don't Breathe, Fede Alvarez.
Oh, Don't Breathe.
Yeah, that was a solid one.
He did the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
No, he did not. On the Netflix?
Yeah. He did, bro.
No.
It's got some gnarly bits, though.
Yeah, but that's such those movies
it's not
are Evil Dead
Massacre, New Generation, or whatever the fuck that one's called.
That's true, with Matthew McConaughey. The robotic leg or whatever.
Yeah.
The show I thought was okay. It definitely merged the humor from the later movies
with him being older and shit.
With him being older, a lot of jokes fell, but it was still pretty good. They had great practical effects. I think in the third episode, he literally gets stuck up his own ass.
And then he's like banging chicks in the bathroom from the back. He's just like,
but that scene where he gets stuck up his own ass and he's walking around.
Alvaro
backwards.
did he came up with the story for Texas Chainsaw. He didn't direct.
Okay.
If that gives him any credit.
That's not even because they had like 6 different fucking writers, so it's not even like.
Oh yeah, so it can't even be pinned on.
I was gonna say, dude, I almost
made it to the screen.
I like the direction more than the story in some ways, honestly.
So they brought in Lucy Lawless, Xena. They even brought in the $6 million man as his father. It was pretty good. It went 3 seasons, but they kind of didn't end it. They kind of ended it, and I think it could have went more, but they ended up canceling it.
Looks
It
like
shouldn't go on Stars, bro.
It was on Stars.
It
should have been on Stars. It should have been on something else, maybe like HBO. Maybe I don't know.
Sci-fi.
Sci-fi where they show the Fast and the Furious. No, it's all right. I think Stars back then, but you forget Stars had fucking Spartacus, and that was a great show. So, and Spartacus is a lot of Sam Raimi.
Battlestar Galactica was on Sci-Fi.
That's true. That's one of the few shows they had that was good, but that was old Sci-Fi.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Before they started showing things like Field of Dreams on there.
Before it was SY,
yeah,
when it was just actually Sci-Fi.
But it was a decent series. If you haven't watched it, it's worth a watch. And now he's officially retired from that, and now we have the new movie, which, as I said, is really good. So overall, the franchise, I give really positive marks. I'm going to give the first movie, to me, is going to be a 4. The second movie is going to be a 4.5, and the third movie is going to be a 4.5. In 2013, I'll give it a 3.5, which is still a good mark. And overall, the whole franchise, I'm going to give a 4. I think they more ups and downs. I think it's a really good franchise. And now Sam Raimi wants to do a universe, and I just hope what they do in the universe is, as Verno says, they got to get out of the mold. Cabins. And the new one I'm not breaking anything by saying that it's in a high rise.
Right.
And that's great. It's a good stand-in for the cabin. But I think they still have to go somewhere else with it. And it needs
different locations.
And eventually I hope we get the thing, I hope it kind of becomes what Resident Evil wasn't, where we get like an apocalyptic type,
the Deadites
almost.
Dude, they could have like a fucking Avengers Endgame moment where fucking Ash shows up. You're doing,
yes.
All this stuff going on.
That would be good. I don't know if that would ever happen, but that's a good idea.
Why not?
Yeah, right.
You'd have to build
it. Some.
Yeah,
but
Bruce.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they do expand the universe, not just make different copies of the same movie over and over again. And but that's you guys' rating. If you want to give it a rating, say some final thoughts on the Evil Dead franchise.
I guess I'll go with my rating.
Go ahead.
Who's first?
I'll give the first one.
Steph.
That's weird.
What's up?
Oh no! The way his order, he's saying he's like.
Oh no, you know, because I just started to speak up, but you can go, Dylan.
I don't care. Go ahead. You're already talking. I was I just like to fuck around and joke.
I'll give the first one a 3.75. I know. But I feel it's a solid, enjoyable movie. But I feel like every other movie is a little bit more entertaining.
I for a while, like this first one wasn't as big of was definitely I would agreed with you honestly, because it took me a while to appreciate the first one, because I think I watched the second one first, and it's like once you see Army of Darkness and Evil Dead 2 first, you're kind of like,
dude, that's one thing I wanted to point out. I mentioned the Scarpet earlier. Part of the reason why I was never able, so far, I hadn't fully appreciated Evil Dead 2 is because I kept on watching it right after watching Evil Dead 1.
Yeah.
I think that's why it was my favorite time watching it today, because I just watched it solo on its own rather than watching a movie and then watching its remake.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
you don't really need to watch Evil Dead 1.
Yeah, it's almost, for me, it's a weird fucking franchise, which is probably part of the reason why.
Yeah, because Evil Dead 2 is like a remake of the first one.
Yeah, I think it's best to just watch one at a time, obviously, but separate occasions.
I'd say if you're gonna watch any in a row, it's like 2 and 3.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
2 ends how Army of Darkness starts.
Mm-hmm.
I know you guys don't like that, but it almost got a 4. But because I'm other grading, I'm gonna give some of the same grade. So I'll stick with that 3.75 for the first one. Second one, I'm going to give a solid 4. The third one, I will give a 3.75 as well. And the fourth one, the remake, I'll give that one a 3.5.
I'll give it a 3.5. That might be your favorite of them all.
I enjoyed that. It's got the kills. It's very visceral, but just the overall enjoyment. You know, the Ash is a big deciding factor. Bruce Campbell is, and him being likable as an actor.
It's like having fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger in a movie. To me, it feels like it's something like that.
Yeah,
elevates it. You get an extra star because there's somebody like
yeah, he's become iconic. He's an iconic
totally dude.
actor. Because
he like you say, he just always add, like Breno says, Bruce Campbell's in it. It's gonna add an extra star. That remake, as cool as it was, didn't have a Bruce Campbell character anyone to really latch on to. I mean, they're different beasts, but still.
I heard someone mention, like, I think it might have been Sam Raimi that said, like, I don't know how Bruce Campbell, I think he was comparing him to Bruce Willis, like how he didn't become one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. He's handsome as fuck.
Yeah, I was thinking that during Army of Darkness, bro. I was like, damn, Bruce Campbell's actually a really good looking dude.
I don't know. Like, I'm really curious, like, if he didn't, like, go for it, if he wasn't, well, if maybe he doesn't have the acting chops to do other things, but
they also get set like,
he's got Crookie, and he gets set into those type of movies.
He's almost like a Bruce Willis.
Seen Bubba Hotep, he is fucking phenomenal.
That's okay, because I was gonna ask you guys, like,
the guy who did
where to go for other Bruce Campbell,
Bubba Hotep, brother.
Yeah, I think Bubba Hotep I like, but it's a pretty
one I haven't seen it. Like but the guy who did the Friday the 13th movie, the first one, Chung S. Cunningham, he has a well, it's older, but they have a Blu-ray coming out from Kino called Terminal Invasion with starring Bruce Campbell, and I want to see. I pre-ordered.
I think that was a TV movie, though. I think it was a sci-fi film.
But anything with Bruce Campbell, I want to check. Give a shot.
He did a movie, if you can find it. He did a movie about the time he did Evil Dead called Running Time, which was a heist movie where he was leading a heist into a bank. It was shot in black and white, and I think Raimi was involved in it. And you can find that Running Time. Watch it. It's really good. It's like an hour and a half long.
The biggest one you have to watch is Bubba Hotep. You will.
Yeah, Bubba Hotep.
Sure.
Overall score, I will give
Gary in his performance. As I was watching today, like,
very expressive.
Like, yeah, they're like in the same vein. But sorry, go ahead, Steph.
No, I'm gonna up it. I will say 4.5 for the entire franchise. Like, there's really not been a weak movie in the Evil Dead franchise, and I think, I don't hear a lot of people, like Verno said, it's probably because they don't make as many of them, but there's something to be said about them not really having a weak movie. Like, they all kind of they're all good for their own reasons. So it's one of the more consistent horror franchises that people don't talk about.
4.5. And I always thought Bruce Campbell would have done a hell of a job as Batman.
Oh God. I don't know if he could pull off the Bruce Wayne. I don't know. That's the thing. I haven't seen.
Pull off the Bruce Wayne. I think he'd be great as Batman. I really do think he would.
Animated, I could.
No, live action. With the chin and that cowl.
The chin is crazy.
Oh my God!
You could use it to level a fucking shelf and shit. Like, he's got this wide fucking straight chin.
Very strong chin.
All right, so I guess Bruno, go ahead. You're next.
Okay.
Written and overall franchise rating.
This is weird because I didn't rewatch one this week, and that was going into this week. Before, I would have said that was my favorite one, but I'm gonna go high on these, dude. And I'm putting a lot of my enjoyment and my grade on the having no budget and the creativity, dude. So many people credit Sam Raimi for making them want to make movies. Like, his style, so influential and shit.
Let me bump up 1 to 4 real quick then, because I was already thinking about it. All right. I'll bump up 1 to 4. And 2, 4.5.
Okay. Because I'm going to go, I'm going 4.5 for 1. I'm going a 5 for 2. That's the one I just watched. So that's probably impacting the score. It's just crazy. It's just, it doesn't let up, and it's just like afterwards you feel like you need a shower and maybe jerk off or something. It's like, holy shit. And then from my one experience watching Army of Darkness, I shouldn't even rate it because I don't fucking barely remember it, and I don't even know if I finished it. But my enjoyment out of that one was like a 2.5, and I'm sure that will climb quite a bit. And I'll go with a fucking 4 for Evil Dead Rise because I loved it when I watched it last week. It floored me, and all the aspects that were different, that made it more elevated, more modern, I appreciated, and I don't think that they should have. I can't see them not making those decisions They just seem like good decisions for that movie and that fit.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, while I'm thinking of it, ever combine that universe with Ash would have been so weird. You know, because you mentioned they thought about like combining that. I don't know if that would have ever worked totally.
He's Batman and his sidekick is his Robin is a ex heroin addict and shit. You know.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it could have, but it seems weird to me. Oh, and then for the franchise, I'll go a 4.5 for the franchise overall for sure. Yeah.
Cool, Dylan. I mean, you've had time now to think about it. What do you think?
I give Evil Dead a 4. I give Evil Dead 2 a 4.5. I give Army of Darkness a 5 flat out. It's like maybe it's a 4.69, but for nostalgia and
it's how unique it is, bro.
Like so unique, and just one so that literally was one I just have so many memories with my Jiddu watching that, man. And he ain't with us no more, man. So it's just even more special to me, man. Like I literally remember sitting on his lap and just eating like chicken nuggets and chilling with him, bro, and just watching classic Universal Monsters movies. That's why all those movies mean so much to me.
Right.
But this one, man, was just a classic, bro. I loved it. And it's just like we said, this was the only one I watched for so long, so I didn't know anything. So it's like it's awesome that you could go into the third movie and it seemed like a solo movie to me. You know what I mean?
Yep. You could say that for every movie we talked about. Now that I think about
literally. Yes, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, they're all designed to be. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's it.
Pretty much. You don't have to watch it all together, or you can watch them in the order you want, really.
Yeah. Then Evil Dead remake, I probably would give a 3 point. It's either 3.75 or a 4.
3.75. I was thinking, because it was solid, bro.
Yeah, but
you know what I think? If we weren't rating them all together, if we did a solo show on Evil Dead Rise, I bet we would grade it better.
4. Yeah, I'm
going 3.75 because I definitely want to do Evil Dead Rise this week with you guys. I'm thinking maybe Thursday or something. So maybe even like Tuesday or something. We'll figure.
I'm seeing it Tuesday.
Okay, then we'll
but hey, I can do it later.
Wednesday's my birthday, so I'm not gonna do it then. So most likely Thursday or Friday. I was thinking I'd rather maybe Thursday or Friday. We'll go with. Most likely probably Thursday. I think will work best for all of us. We'll talk and see what works for you guys.
Cool.
All right, so that's pretty much it for the special.
As a whole, Dylan, what would you rate the?
As a whole,
franchise.
Because all of them are bangers, and all of them, like we said, can kind of stand on their own. I'd say probably 4.5 the whole franchise. It's one of the better ones without a doubt.
Yeah.
It's one of the better ones. All of them are good. It's not like Friday the 13th. Even though I could sit there and say that I find charmness in all those series.
Right.
Obviously a couple of them have stinkers in them.
They take some dips.
Freddy. Freddy's new or the last. What is it? Freddy's new. What is that? Freddy's Dead.
Freddy's Dead.
I never was a fan of that one.
It's a banger.
But it's funny. There is a freaking line in the new one where the kids all of them are good. All of them are good.
Hold that thought.
I'm not spoiling nothing, bro. I'm not you. Don't you tell me to hold up.
I have done well.
You've done well.
I have done wrong for me.
Shocking.
Right. Yeah.
He's like.
But now that's gonna end. So let me just. I want to thank everybody for coming out. Tonight we started something.
They're all bangers, man.
Tonight we did something that we haven't done before, which is we simultaneously streamed this my stream onto Dylan's stream. If you guys like that and you want to see more of that, let us know. If you hate it, let us know. Like, subscribe, go over there and leave some comments on Dylan's channel. Hopefully I'll work right and we'll see what happens. Tomorrow night we're going to be on live on Facebook and here, maybe on Dylan's horror show if this worked, and we'll stream the very last show of the month.
I checked it was streaming from
the very last show of the month will be Wing Commander with Freddie Prinz.
Matthew Lillard too.
Matthew Lillard and the girl, I forget who's in that, but I know she's a biggie.
Denise Richards was in Starship Troopers. I keep getting that confused.
Yeah, maybe Saffron Burrows. I'm not sure. But that's going to be the last movie of the month, and then we'll be announcing tomorrow night the new movie starting off for May.
Wait.
I know, Dylan's so thrilled over that.
No, I can't wait to hear what the upcoming movies are. Just because I don't feel good doesn't mean I'm not excited to know what the
jump up with joy. I know. You gotta get a shot of something in you. Anyways.
Well, they got some penicillin getting ready for me.
That's good.
So I'm gonna go get that after
the good shit.
we end here.
That's the good shit.
I hope it is.
And then, of course, the following next Saturday, Dylan, what are we doing on your show again? What are you doing?
Dentist 1 and 2, directed by Brian Yuzna. Sadly, Verno will not be there.
I didn't know that was Brian Yuzna.
Brian Yuzna.
That's cool. Does it have the typical Brian Yuzna, like slimy, gooey shit?
It's got some really good shit. It's not Society by any means.
Right. Okay.
It's really good, man. I love it. It's got some good comedic bits, and I laugh my ass off on it. It's a fun one. It's a really good double feature.
Drills in the mouth, man.
And then we'll announce May's what we're starting with May for, which is we're starting May off with one of Verno's picks.
Terrified about it. For you guys to watch.
I like the movie.
Good. I'll just say I watched that movie. I watched that movie.
It's
really in certain circumstances. I'll just say I was high as fuck.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of blew me away, and I have never watched it since. I have no idea what I'm going to think about.
You're gonna be like, "What the fuck was I?"
No, that's not. You're not talking about Burial Ground. See, I got it in. You got it in
earlier on the episode we did within the first 30 seconds. He's talking.
I gotta get that 4K out.
I guess I said phenomenal 4K, too. I didn't even notice it. Two Gun was like, I haven't heard him say that in a while.
That's right.
Ain't that wrong? A little.
So we got some good movies coming up in May. May is going to be a good month, and other than that, I think that's about it. Yeah. I think Robbie's also streaming a show tomorrow night too, but I'm not sure. I know he was gone. Might be back. I don't know. But if Robbie has one, make sure you check him out too. So, hey, I want to thank everybody for coming over here, coming in tonight. Everybody in the chat, all you guys are great. Thank you, Verno and Link, for stirring up, really helping out. Thank you, Dylan, for coming in a really bad way. They don't feel good, and hopefully get that deadite out of you. I don't want to see that. I don't want to hear about anything going down in where you are. So get that deadite out.
I'm trying.
They start as a goiter in the neck, where you think it's a goiter, but it's really a deadite. So if you wake up in the middle of the night and there's a fucking eyeball there looking at you on your fucking neck here,
spit it.
You gotta do something about it. So.
Fuck that.
All right, so we will catch you guys tomorrow night, whoever's gonna be here, and Station Hall. And thank you for coming in. And I guess we'll end it with the same way we started it, which is saying sayonara.